Hi friends, violin teacher here. Did you ever notice how sometimes when you wanted to play a popular song that all you came up with was a lot of repeated notes? So I was looking, actually I don't listen to radio, popular tunes very often, I'll confess. But I was in the car one day and the radio was on and I heard this really interesting melody by Marian Hill and it's called Down. And so I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to learn keys and so forth and build some interesting unit practice from that song, even when you encounter a song maybe you'd like to play, but it's really repetitive, has a lot of notes. For example, Down is that way in some places. In the very beginning, all those notes. So the singer does a pair of measures over and over again in the beginning. Just does that over and over again. So if you wanted to be creative, you could create some units to practice to get your fingers oriented in a maybe otherwise uncomfortable finger pattern. And in this case, that is handy, pretty handy. So if we just take the opening part that she sings over and over again, I think actually the piano part is really interesting in this part, more so than the melody, but it is useful, I think, for unit practice. So the first four notes, if you look at that, you have low 2 on D, and you have a slur at the beginning. So that's a good unit because it teaches your hand the low 2, third finger interval, a whole step. So if you could be creative, you could change that a little bit maybe. You could do it with the open D so that you're practicing setting the 2 in a low position. Now that's quite often easy to do when you have 1 already down, but this unit doesn't include first finger. So I'm slurring the first 2 notes. So you could make yourself a little unit just to teach yourself the finger intervals. All right, and then she has another one in the very next part where you have to do let me just show you the intervals of a low 1, a low 2, which is a whole step away from the low 1, and a regular 3, which is a whole step away from the low 2. This is all happening on D, but you could do it on any string, and you should do it on all the strings so that you can get familiar with this kind of finger pattern. So here's the unit. And in the case of practice units, especially for tweaking your intonation, and we should be doing that when we're playing low 1 and low 2, repetition is your friend. That is my point. So when you create a unit, do it over and over again. Really, so let's just talk about that real quick. So when you're using repetition, what is the point of repeating it? Well, you want to kind of create a neural pathway that will allow this to become easier, yes. But your brain is also evaluating on each repeat what you should change or fix. What wasn't good on the last one should be altered to make, a path that is in the correct way, in the right intonation. So if I played, or I'm sorry, here's your unit. So if I played, say for example, with a 2 that was out of place, I wouldn't want to repeat that over and over, or I'd be practicing in the wrong thing. Your brain will take in the wrong thing if you let it. All right, so that's one way that you can use a popular song or a modern popular tune that you like, but maybe it's a little boring for violin, you can just use the tune itself to create units that will help fine-tune your intonation. And in this particular song, there's one more. I didn't expect my video to get this long on this. There's several more, but I'll give you one more, which is really good. And it's where she goes like this. All right, so you could see how that was. So if I did that over on the E or A, say. See if I could do it on the E. See how you could change it over and just do whatever you want to, really. Okay, so I hope this gives you some interest when you're approaching these tunes that have a lot of repeated things that seem maybe boring for violin, but you could make it interesting and you can incorporate it into your practice that will be advantageous to your technique. So you know what's next. Please like the video, share it to friends that you think might be able to use it, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much.